Believe it or not, it wasn't so easy getting back into politics in the day. If you wanted votes, you had to really work for it. If you weren't the sharpest or the wittiest guy on the ballot, you had no chance. And most of the time, it would come down to who could kiss the most babies.
Have a baby. I need to kiss like that's my baby to kiss.
No, excuse me, please.
Oh, you don't take a swing at my hair. You will.
But nowadays, you don't even have to campaign to get elected. They'll just find a way to push you across the finish line. Joe couldn't even string a sentence together, so they just locked him in a bunker for over a year, and he still won. And we had legit concerns about his health and cognitive ability, just like we did with Hillary in 2016. Remember, she was coughing up a storm and could barely walk, but they just flung her into a van like she was a side of beef. Now we're seeing the same thing happen in Pennsylvania, where Democrats are trotting out John Fetterman for Senate, a guy who's never had a job in his whole life. He's mooched off his parents, lived with them through his 40s. He dresses like a slob. Fetterman, who just had a stroke, can't even talk. This was him this weekend. Listen.
It's such the most important race for the Senate here for 22. We have to replace Pat Toomey. Senator Toomey was not very nice to me. Pat Toomey is a miracle.
What? John Fetterman makes Joe Biden sound like Ronald Reagan. Now, Primetime hasn't talked about Fetterman really because we felt like we'd be punching down. We kind of felt sorry for him. But two things have happened. He looks much worse to the point where we're concerned he's just unable to perform if he ever is elected. And I'm from Pennsylvania, so I care. And we watch the media bend over backwards to cover for him. We don't like that. They're actually trying to say his condition's fine. Here's a headline from the Times. Fetterman says stroke problems have not slowed down his normal campaign. You think that's true? You think this is a normal campaign? The guy had a stroke in the spring, and he hid his condition from the whole country and stayed inside all summer. No one saw him all summer. And it was only just a few weeks ago that he started to go outside. And when he did, he'd give 5-minute speeches and then leave. The media is lying to you. NBC did a whole fact check saying videos of Fetterman appear to be doctored to create the perception that what he's saying is nonsensical. Okay, we just played 35 seconds of pure footage, never edited. The guy can't speak. I feel bad for him. He had a stroke, but he can't speak. How's he going to do his job in D.C.? This is him 10 years ago. Listen.
Heard approximately a dozen or more what clearly sounded like assault rifle gunshots go off.
Mayor John Fetterman says he rushed his son inside, called 911, and took off in his truck after a masked man in black he saw running. But Chris Mayeras, the man Fetterman confronted, turns out to be an innocent jogger who police say had no weapon.
There wasn't any assault rifle shots. It was bottle rockets behind the library.
Mayor Fetterman did have a weapon.
A 20-gauge shotgun under the back seat of my truck, which I pulled out and I showed to just say, look, we're going to wait here and we're going to get this all sorted out when the police arrive.
Mayeras and the mayor tell very different stories. He says Fetterman
followed me into North Braddock and pulled a shotgun and aimed it at my chest.
Okay, wait. Fetterman did what? He chased a black guy in his truck and pointed a shotgun at him? That's who the Democrats want to run for Senate in Pennsylvania? Maybe that's why Fetterman wants to empty the prisons. He's feeling that white guilt, wants to let everybody out of jail. Or he's just doing whatever the Democratic Party tells him to do. That's what this is all about. They'll just throw anybody out there, say what they want them to say, and we're going to have to deal with it. Karl Rove is a former White House Deputy Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor. I feel bad for the guy, I really do, but D.C.'s a tough town. There's Chinese spies, there's killer lobbyists, there's some really nasty journalists. I'm not going to name names, Karl, but this guy's going to get eaten alive there. Do you actually think this man has a shot?
Oh, sure he does, because the Democrats are behind him. He's got a sort of a mythology, and he's avoided a real campaign. Look, if we had had a real campaign, and he'd been out there on the campaign trail since the end of the Democratic primary, there'd be a bunch of big issues that would have been talked about and dealt with, and that he'd have to have answers for. This guy is in favor of abolishing fracking. Pennsylvania is the second largest source of natural gas production in the United States of America. I'll let you figure out what state is number one, but it's the second largest, and he wants to ban fracking. This is a guy who said, I am in favor of, I heard this guy have an interesting idea that we could empty out a third of the people in our prisons and we'd be just as safe. I think that's a profound idea, and I support it. Dr. Oz is now running an ad attacking him on it, and you know what his campaign, the Fetterman campaign, is saying? What? They're saying no, they're misinterpreting, they're telling lies. Well, there are 11 instances on tape of Fetterman saying exactly that. Let's empty out the prisons of 1/3 of the people in there, and we'll be okay. This is a guy in favor of abolishing private health insurance. Gone. He's in favor of every bit of the Green New Deal.
You're telling
These are
me
the kinds of things that we'd be talking about if he ran a normal campaign.
This guy's to the left of AOC. He's got about 17 pacemakers in his chest, and he chases blacks with weapons. And this is who they want to run for Senate, the Democratic Party?
Yeah. Well, this is the
Oz
state
better
of the
wipe the
modern
floor with
Democratic
this
Party in
guy.
many states.
Oz better run away with this with double digits, right? Are they going to debate, Karl?
Well, they're going to have one debate. Dr. Oz has accepted every invitation to a debate. Finally, under pressure, think about this. The Washington Post editorializes that Fetterman better accept a debate and prove that he's up to the job of being a United States Senator. The Washington Post. My God, when you lose the Washington Post as a Democrat, what's happening to you? He's got one debate, and here's the deal. He can't process, being a stroke victim, he can't process language. So the requirement was that all of the exchanges be in closed captioning, so he can. So he doesn't. So he's going to read what Oz says. Everything has to be on closed caption.
Okay, he's going to read what. Okay, so Oz just speaks fast. That's how he gets out of the closed captioning thing. And this guy's got a lump on his neck the size of Texas. I mean, if I were Oz, I'd go over and start performing surgery on him if I was debating this guy, right?
Well, you'll notice that in the pictures of him as when he was Mayor of Braddock, which incidentally was the first, I think, paying job he had, the first real income he had was when he was elected lieutenant governor. You're absolutely right. He lived on an allowance from his parents until he was in his 40s. But you'll notice that he had
Peter Doocy also lives on an allowance from his father. It's like everybody these days, it just happens.
Shame on you. The Doocy boy's earning his own money, man.
He sure is. He's probably earning more than his father. Works a lot harder.
But I'll let you navigate that.
All right, no, because I have the Doocies coming on later in the show. They're going to arm wrestle for money. Karl, thanks for joining us. We'll be paying close attention to that debate.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.